Welcome to the inaugural Yahoo Finance U.S.-China Investor Forum. I'd like to present to you the premiere of a very special conversation that I had with Warren Buffett just a few weeks ago, where I asked him about his latest thinking about China. I want to ask you some questions for the Chinese audience. First of all, can you say ni hao to them?
Ni hao.
All right. How much do you think the Chinese economy and markets will ultimately become like the United States? How much convergence do you think there will be?
I really don't know the answer to that. What I do know is they have found the secret sauce for themselves, just like we found the secret sauce a couple of centuries ago. And so they have had an economy in the last 60 years or thereabouts. They have unleashed the potential of their citizenry. And where for really centuries they did not progress that much economically for overwhelming portion of the population, what they've done in the last 50 or 60 years is a total economic miracle. I never would have thought it could have happened. But the truth is, they're as smart as we are, they work as hard as we are, and they can have growth in the economy from a lower base that will exceed ours percentage-wise for a long time. And I mean, they're destined for a fine economic future, just like we are.
Are there things that we can learn from China in terms of the economy and markets?
But the main thing you have to do is unleash the potential of your people. I mean, you've got brain power, you've got numbers, you've got talents of all sorts.
Are you looking at more and more deals in China? Are you looking at companies? Are you looking at investments?
Well,
there?
When you got over 100 billion around, you're looking at any big market. We can't go into tiny markets and really deploy enough capital. But sure, we would love to find, but that's true of the UK, or it's true of Germany, but it's definitely true of China. We would love to find big things to do. But we want to invest money intelligently, and obviously big economies and growing economies have the potential.
I think we'd like to bring up our first guest and our first panelist. And please welcome Yahoo Finance's Julia LaRoche and a very special guest.
Welcome. I'm with Peter Wang, the CEO of Cenntro Automotive Group, a commercial electric vehicle company headquartered in Hangzhou. You started the company in 2013.
Yes.
So walk us through the electric vehicle evolution that's going on right now in China, and where do you see it going in, say, 5 or 10 years from now?
I think the electrical vehicle will be very soon to replace the internal combustion vehicle. So I think that's the big trend. Just like Tesla, we try to redefine the automobile and redefine how the delivery truck to be. So we focus on the smart delivery EV. So this is what we focus on that. The reason being that because the market is big. And if we look today and on the e-commerce is went up, like 50% a year. So there will be continue to like 30% for next 10 years. And 50% of the order delivered is going the local, the last mile.
And I would say it's the number, when you talk to the employers, that is the number one issue right now. It was regulations, and we've done a good job in the last year and a half of controlling that and providing some stability and predictability. At one time, our tax laws made us non-competitive. We actually paid higher business taxes than China. But we've modified our tax law now and got it to 21%, whereas I believe China's is 25%. But we were not competitive. We were paying 35%. That was also a number one issue. But now when we've done tax reform, regulatory reform, I would say it is employers or employees, workforce reform is the number one issue.
So this is Ellie Johnson. Ellie is the president of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services in New York, where I'm from. So we both came in yesterday. And we've got Sunny Wang, the general manager of Broad USA, and also an active board member with CGCC.
And we have several chapters, which one is dedicated to the real estate business. So from the perspective of the Chinese investors, real estate always be the top choice for their investment. And the New York City is also be the hotspot.
I think money comes and follows if you do the right thing by people. And if you provide the quality service and you truly have their best interest at heart, it naturally unfolds.
The governments, not only in China, but governments all over the world, are going straight to the States. In fact, there is a delegation from Jiangsu province that is actually here today, this weekend. And a lot of the governors, including Governor Ricketts, who we're partnering this weekend with the state of Nebraska, as well as the province of Ontario and the National Governors Association, they are going directly to the States to make things happen, and the governors are going directly to China to bring business over. And the reason why is because the stakes are so large. So politics matters immensely, if you know that quote. So year over year, investment in the US has declined 55% from China. But in Europe, which has been much more welcoming of it, year over year growth in investments into Europe has increased 60%. So it's sort of a waterbed. China is going to invest out overseas, but it's just a question of the policy environment and where it invests.
And I tell people, look, I failed at this for about 5 years. I spent about 5 years writing. Nobody read anything I wrote. It was very depressing. I published a book. Nobody read that. I wrote articles. Nobody read those. It was like 5 years of failure. And then social media sort of opened the door, and I ran pretty quick. Publishing on social media has a lot of power to it. And then at the same time, China was opening up as a subject that people cared about. And there just weren't that many of us on the ground from the West living there. There's some, but not that many. And then they opened up LinkedIn China, which you can publish in Chinese. So we started publishing on Chinese. I think I was literally the only Waiguo Ren publishing on LinkedIn China for a while. That's what they've told me.